Hey everybody, this is Redalen with Team Infinite and EV7, and this is my 2022 In The Bag. First, to start off, I'm going to be using the Pound Octothorpe bag for the 2022 season. I'm sponsored by Pound, an ambassador for Pound. Definitely go get yourself one of these bags, one of the most comfortable bags on the market. Really loving this thing. Let's start off with putters. So with putters, putting putters and somewhat backhand approach putters, we have 4 EV7 5s in the bag. And for more approach putters, we have 2 Discraft Zones. So starting off with the EV7s, I have these 2 brick colored 5s for main putting. These have really good stiffness to them. I love the firm plastic. It lets me have a consistent release. Has good grip to it as well, so definitely recommend these. I have 2 other 5s for approach discs. I have one with my fundraiser stamp on it. It came out pretty sweet this year. I use this one for overstable backhand putter approaches. And then we also have this Glow 5, which is straight to a little understable as well. I only use these for backhand primarily. For overstable approach putters, this is the Discraft Zone. This was my fundraiser stamp with Discraft last year. The ESP Zone has been a staple in my bag. Probably will never take it out of my bag for as long as I have an open one. I really love this thing for backhands. I don't throw it forehands too much. I throw this Get Freaky Zone, Crystal Flex Zone for forehands. It just feels most comfortable. I feel like I can grip it a little bit better than the stiff ESP plastic. So for overstable backhand approaches, I'm going for this zone. Overstable forehand approaches, we're going with the Get Freaky Zone. Next, go for the mid-ranges. We have 2 overstable mid-ranges and 3 pretty neutral mids. We'll start off with the overstable ones. I throw a Discraft Crystal Drone. If I want something a little bit more stable, or like a really stable shot into some wind, I'm definitely reaching for this drone. The next overstable mid in my bag is this Badger. This Badger goes a little bit straiter, can give me a little bit more glide, but this thing is also pretty similar to that drone. I can just get a little bit more distance, a little more flight out of it. And then I bag 3 Discraft Buzzes. I have a Z Buzz, a Z Glow Buzz, and then an ESP Buzz with my Discraft fundraiser stamp on it. This goes from most stable to least stable. This Z one is my buzz I use for in the wind mainly. If there's like a headwind, this thing goes really straight. If I need a buzz with a little bit of left finish, I'll throw this Z Buzz, so it's definitely the most overstable of the 3. This Halloween Buzz is if I just need a buzz that goes straight and nothing else. This thing doesn't really hyzer, it doesn't really turn over. It just hits pure lines, and I could probably release this on some Annie and it'll hold that line pretty nicely. So the Halloween Glow Buzz for sure. The ESP Buzz is my last mid in the bag and is probably the most understable in my bag. Sometimes it depends. Some ESP can be really overstable, some can be really understable. This run they did for the fundraisers came out pretty understable, so I use this thing for gradual turnover shots. And yeah, I'd probably put these buzzes out to 350, 400 feet. It is probably my most comfortable range with the mid-range. Next, we go into fairway drivers. I bag a lot of fairway drivers. I have 7 fairway drivers in the bag. This is primarily what I'm throwing in my bag. Obviously with a mixed bag, things are gonna be coming in and out this season. But for right now, I'm really loving my fairway driver game. I can put these things up to 420 feet. So for control, that's huge, especially on some tighter wood courses. So we'll start with the most understable. I throw a 5-time Avenger SS. Shout out to Jeff Corns for getting this to me a long time ago. This thing's really flippy. I use this really only for rollers. I never really throw this for anything else. It's a distance roller. It goes really far for rollers, and I only throw it for backhands. So Avenger SS. Next is the Legacy Patriot. If you don't follow my social media, go do that. But I've definitely been posting quite a bit about this disc. I love it so much. It's probably similar to your Leopard-ish, but a little bit more overstable. This thing just goes really straight. I can release it on Annie, it'll come back a little bit. I threw on a hole 5 at Innova, or hole 4 on Innova course, and put it inside the bullseye twice at this last week at Vegas. So really loving the Legacy Patriot. It's gonna be a staple in my bag. Hopefully gonna have some signature ones coming out soon with Infinite. So keep your eyes out for those. Next is the Mint Discs Alpha. Not a lot of people have heard about this. The plastic is really stiff. A little slick in the hand, but this thing is pretty similar to my Patriot, just a little bit more overstable. So if I need something like maybe a slower Raptor or something like a Patriot with a little bit more finish that's not as straight, I'll be reaching for this Mint Disc Alpha. This is kind of one that's been in and out of the bag, still kind of trying to figure out, find out what I'm really liking it for. But yes, this is a really underrated disc. Next is the 1060 run of Paul McBeth ESP Onyxes. I use this primarily only for backhands. I like to use the Z Raptor for my forehands. So these are both pretty similar in flight as far as overstability goes. But I'm loving this ESP Onyx, the ESP feel, just for backhands in general. This thing goes really far and it's very overstable, very reliable. The next is the Z Raptor that I just mentioned. I use this thing only for forehands. I like the lower profile of the Raptor, Raptor rim for forehands. It's just a little bit more comfortable. This is probably going to be similar to your like Firebird, but this is my straighter of the Raptors in my bag. I have 2 of them. On to the next Raptor is this Adam Hammis Crystal Raptor. This is probably the most overstable fairway driver I've ever thrown. It's very stable, crystal plastic, it's very durable and beefy. I'm really throwing this for forehands and backhands, anything in a super stiff wind or something. I need to put this in the fairway. And the last fairway driver in my bag is the Glow Sparkle Vulture from Discraft. This thing is actually pretty similar to the Patriot, but it just goes a lot further. So if I can't quite get my Patriot out to like 400, I'm probably going to be reaching for this thing, especially like throwing uphill and stuff like that. The Vulture gives me a little bit more glide, a little bit more flight. So yes, the Vulture. Last up is the distance drivers. I carry 4 Forces in the bag and 2 Infinite Disc Emperors. We'll start with the Forces from least stable to most stable. So the Force, compared to the Emperor, is much more controllable in my opinion. So I threw these a lot with Discraft last year. They don't go as far as Emperors, but if I really need to stick something in the fairway or have a controlled distance shot, I'll be reaching for a Force this year. First one is this Green Force. I can really get over on this thing. Like I can even get it down to rollers at some point. But this is like my bomber Force. If I still need a lot of distance, but also more control, I can't get too squirrely with some OB or something, this Green Force is what I'm going with. This Orange Force is actually pretty similar to that Green Force, but also just a little bit more stable. So if I need another distance shot in the wind, I'll probably be reaching for this thing over the green one. It can handle the wind just a little bit better. So yeah. Then I've had this Scott Withers Force in the bag, Resistance Discs, Fundraiser Tour Series run, swirly ESP Force. This thing is just actually pretty similar to the orange one, maybe a little bit more stable. So I can throw some big hyzers with this, not think it'll flip up too much. And the last Force in my bag is probably the most overstable distance driver in my bag, is this Z Force with my Redalen Fundraiser stamp from Discraft last year. This thing, it was super helpful in the Las Vegas wind, just cutting through that wind like crazy, throwing it for overstable 400 plus shots, Z Force. And the last 2 in my bag, which I'm super stoked about being with Infinite Discs, is the Emperor. The Emperor has been huge for me. I was throwing these, I've thrown these further than I have any other disc before. So these you could probably relate these to a Nuke, but feels probably a little bit better in the hand, a little bit smaller of a rim, but they go just as far. This Star one that I'm throwing is just a little bit flippier than this Metal Flake one. This Metal Flake one I'll be using probably for some more wind shots or more hyzer shots where I just need to be on hyzer the whole way. But yeah, I was putting these out to over 500 consistently this weekend. So yeah, that's what's in my bag for the 2022 season. I guess we'll see what I continue to filter in and filter out. Obviously with a mixed bag this season, being with Infinite Discs and EV7, I'm pretty excited for the opportunity to try out some new plastic. But for now, this is what I'll be throwing. Just some mentions, the Infinite Disc Scepter has been amazing. I'll have some of the signature ones, those coming out. Haven't quite been comfortable enough with that to put it in the bag right now, but definitely looking forward to throwing that disc this season as well. But yeah, thanks for watching the In The Bag. Go get yourself a pound bag because it's great. Go buy yourself some discs and continue playing disc golf. Have a good one.